Good afternoon. Today we are going to study session 6 in module 1, Matrix Method of Structural Analysis. I am Dr. Jyoti TK, Assistant Professor, Government Engineering College, Ramnagar. So today we are going to study about strain energy and complementary energy. So what is a strain energy? So here let us consider a elastic spring as shown in figure 2.4. So you can see here there is a elastic spring. Here, 1 minute. So here in this, when the spring is slowly pulled, when it is pulled, it deflects by a small amount. Obviously, it will deflect by a small amount, and when the load is removed, it will come back to its original position, right? But when the spring is pulled by a force, it does some work, and this can be calculated once a load displacement relationship is known. So, if the external force is applied on a spring, and it does some amount of work, and this can be calculated with the help of a load or force displacement relationship. It may be noted that the spring is a mathematical idealization of the rod being pulled by a force P axially. It is assumed here that the force P, here I cannot see this, okay. So there is a force, yeah, now you can see. So let me see that there is a spring here. There is a spring here. So now if this spring is pulled by external force P, let me take external force P, right? So due to this external force, some amount of work is done on the body. So the work, the internal body will oppose the movement, and some work is done. So now what work is done, you can find out with the help of force displacement relationship. So this is, you can see that linear spring. Then what is this force displacement relationship? Along the y-axis there is a force, along the x-axis there is a displacement, right? So now as the force increases, the displacement also increases, and it is linear up to certain point, right? So some amount of energy is stored. So that is called as what? Complementary strain energy, right? So that is what is explained here. So it is assumed that the force applied gradually so that it slowly increases from 0 to maximum value P. Such a load is called as what? Static loading, as there are no inertial effects due to motion. Let the load displacement relationship as shown in the figure 2.5. This can be calculated. External force may be calculated as this, you already know, it is force into displacement. External work done is equal to force into displacement. So half into force into displacement, this energy, external force work done, you have already studied in your strain energy, you have already studied in your previous semesters. So this is a force displacement relationship. The area enclosed by force displacement curve gives the total work done by the externally applied load. So the enclosed here, you can see here, this is the, this is the enclosed area. So this is the enclosed area. So this enclosed area indicates what? This enclosed area indicates the work done, gives the total work done by externally applied load. Here it is assumed that the energy is conserved. This energy is conserved. That is, the work done by the gradually applied loads is equal to energy stored in the structure. That's why for every action, if there is a reaction, then this a body is said to be in a state of equilibrium. But if the external load exceeds the internal load, then there is a strain, right? So this energy which is stored in the structure, this internal energy is known as what? Strain energy. Now, strain energy stored in the spring is what? U is equal to half into P1 into U1. Force into energy stored. Force into displacement. U is equal to half into force into displacement. Work and energy are expressed with the same units. In SI system, we know that the unit of work and energy is joules, which is equal to 1 Newton meter. The strain energy may also be defined as the internal work done by the body by the stress resultant in moving through the corresponding deformations. So whenever the external load is acting on the body will oppose it by strain energy, the energy stored in the body. Right. So that is called as what? Internal work done. So let us consider a infinite simal element. So you can see here, this is let us consider a element with a three-dimensional homogeneous isotropic material. In the most general case, the state of stress acting on such an element may be shown in figure 2.6. There are normal stresses. Which are the normal stresses here? Sigma x, sigma x, sigma y, and sigma z. Right. So, and the shear stresses tau xy, tau xy, tau yz, tau zx. Right. So, these are the shear stresses. Corresponding to normal and shear stresses, we have a normal strain and shear strain also. Right. So, now the strain energy may be written as, we know the formula, half into force into displacement. Force is nothing but sigma. What is sigma? Sigma is nothing but load by area. Load by area. What is strain? Strain is change in length by original length. Right. So force into displacement, I can also write it as in transpose of sigma into epsilon. Epsilon is what? Strain here into dV. Here sigma t. Sigma t represents normal stress along x direction, y direction, z direction, as well as shear stress along xy direction, shear stress along yz direction, and shear stress along zx direction. Similarly, epsilon t, that is strain transpose is equal to what? Strain along x, y, z, then shear strain gamma xy, gamma yz, and gamma zx. So that is what's shown here. So let me consider this as one plane. This is one plane. This is one plane. In each plane, you have one normal stress and two shear stress. So this is elastic and inelastic strain energy. So the elastic strain energy, you can notice that if it is linear, then you can see the elastic strain energy, and inelastic strain energy, you can notice if there is a permanent deformation, then it is, if there is a deformation, then it is called as what? If it will not regain its original shape, then it is called as what? Inelastic strain energy. So the strain energy may be further classified as, that's what in the previous figure we know. We got to know it is elastic strain energy and inelastic strain energy. If the force P is removed, if the load is removed, the spring will get shortened. When the elastic limit of the spring is not exceeded, if it is not exceeded, if it is still having a capacity to withstand more load, so then after removal of the load, obviously the spring regains its original shape. If the elastic limit of the material exceeds, if it exceeds, then a permanent set will remain on removal of load. Even if the load is removed, it will not regain back its original shape. In the present case, the load of the spring is beyond its elastic limit. So in an inelastic strain energy is a portion where it has crossed its elastic limit. Then we obtain the load displacement curve as shown in the previous figure. Now if at B the load is removed, the spring gradually shortens. However, a permanent set of OD is still retained. OD is a permanent deformation. So here you can notice that OD is a permanent deformation. This is a permanent deformation, hence it is called as what? Inelastic strain energy. So the shaded area is known as what? Elastic strain energy. This can be recovered upon removing the load. Once the load is removed, it will regain back its original shape. So hence it is shaded portion is called as what? Elastic strain energy. The area represents the inelastic portion of the strain energy is one. Here the energy is stored in the structure, and the area is defined as a complementary strain energy for the linearly elastic structure. It may be seen in that OABDO. OABDO is an inelastic strain energy. And area OBC is equal to area OBE. Area OBC, let me, OBC is equal to OBD. Therefore, strain energy is equal to complementary strain energy. So the complementary strain energy do not have any physical meaning. The definition is being used for its convenience in structural analysis. Usually, structural member is subjected to any one or the combination of bending moment, shear force, axial force, and twisting moment. The member resists these external actions by internal stresses. Obviously, when the load is applied, the body will not deform. It will oppose it. So, it will oppose it by its internal stresses. In this section, the internal stresses induced in the structure due to external forces and associated displacements are calculated for different actions. Knowing internal stresses due to individual forces, one could calculate the resulting stress distribution due to the combination of external forces by the method. Here the method of superposition principle is used. After knowing the internal stresses and deformation, one could easily evaluate the strain energy stored in a simple beam due to axial forces, due to bending, shear, and as well as torsional deformation. Thank you.